Okay, this is video 2, an introduction to the Common Application. So here in the UK, there's a system you'll be familiar with called UCAS. It's where you list your grades, a personal statement, and your teachers submit a recommendation on your behalf, pick 5 universities, and send off an application. America's version of UCAS is called the Common App, pretty much. There's a few exceptions because some universities don't actually use the Common App for admissions, whereas in the UK, every university uses UCAS. We'll discuss those universities in more detail later. The first thing you're going to need to do is create a Common Application account, and you can do that by visiting commonapp.org, clicking in the top right where it says create account, selecting first year student, and then filling in the details as it asks you to. I can't help you with your address and other details, so just fill them in. It's not complicated. Exactly what it asks, just put it in the box. I'd say pause the video now, exit full screen, and click the link and get signed up. Alright, so once you've signed up, you'll be greeted with a screen that looks like this. This is the Common Application. These 5 tabs across the top are what we're going to talk through now. The dashboard's got all the info on all of your applications. It shows you the universities that you've chosen and the progress you've made on the different sections of the application. You'll see how far away the deadline is after you've selected an admissions cycle, which we'll talk about later. The next tab, My Colleges, is where you choose the universities you want to actually apply to. It's similar to the UCAS Choices tab. The only difference is you're not limited to 5 universities. You can apply to as many as you want. It's also where you access the slightly long list of questions that the universities are going to ask you. You see, when you apply to study in the US, the admissions process is much more holistic. They review things like your extracurricular activities, your writing, your teacher recommendations with the same weight or maybe even more than your academics. So many kids who are perfect academically apply to these schools and they've got to differentiate between them. These sections, which we will touch on in greater detail later, are essentially the most important part of the application. The Common App tab is part of the application that every single university gets. It includes basic information about yourself, your parents, the school you attended, as well as the basic info. There is a 650-word personal essay and an activities section. These 2 sections, according to a guy called Mike, who's a former Stanford admissions officer that I've spoken to, are the most important part of the application. We will get into those sections in much more detail later on, but please note that this is not an admissions masterclass. I've never sat in an admissions office and I don't know what the decisions are made based off. All I can do is pass on knowledge I've retained from different people that I've spoken to. The main purpose of this is to guide you through the process of filling the forms out correctly. The last 2 tabs are useless. There's just one to search for universities, and the final one is completely useless. It's called FAFSA, and that is the United States government funding you to go to university. The only thing is you need to be an American or an American living abroad to access it. So if you're from the UK or Europe, like most of you will be, that tab is useless.